What's up out and about Nashville? My name is Amy Sulam. I am here talking with D Powers. Today we're going to do a really fun interview that I'm actually super excited about. Dee is part of a group called Viral Animal. They are an EDM band here in Nashville, and their music is amazing. It's part of the new Nashville sound that you will be seeing featured monthly now in Out and About. So let's get to know Dee a little bit better. Can you tell us how you got started?
Yes, I'm originally born and raised San Antonio, Texas. Austin is home away from home, and as I transplanted out here to Nashville, I've been doing music for almost 20 years. I've been very fortunate to have my feet planted. I had a demo deal with a major label in '97. I was signed to a management by the name of Mark One Management, managed by Mark Proct, who manages Los Lonely Boys, Storyville, and a lot of big Texas bands. And I kind of got my roots just gravitating to a lot of different live music back home in Austin, Texas. You know, it's the live music capital of the world. So, you know, that's kind of how I got my break at a young age. And ever since then, at 17, I've just been in and out of the club or a concert venue and kind of stuck with it and just kind of grew as I went along with my music.
Now, correct me if I'm wrong, but wasn't your initial deal, weren't you signed as an R&B artist?
Yes, I was signed as an R&B artist, and funny story was I didn't want to be a pop artist, but a lot of the songs that I wrote were more pop oriented, and so I just, instead of just going and blowing my money on the chain or the car, I invested in the keyboards, sequencers, and computers, and I even invested in like the first Pro Tools rig that I had and didn't know how to use it and paid so much money for it, where I hired some college kids that were going to school for engineering in Austin. And I was like, hey, if you engineer me an album, you know, I'll let you guys have the gear, because I know how expensive it was to hire somebody to produce or engineer an album. So that's kind of how I got my feet wet.
What got you interested in EDM?
EDM music, I think I was turned on to electronic dance music when I was in Argentina with an artist by the name of Zoel. We were on a tour with a Pepsi Cola tour with Tiesto, Marlon Manson, and Black Eyed Peas, and I didn't even know who Tiesto was, and we went to a club called Pancha in Argentina, and that was my first experience of the underworld of electronic dance music. And the only experience I remember over there was I got there at sundown and I left at sunrise.
Oh, wow.
So that was my first experience, and coming back to the States and seeing how, you know, the music is progressing here. Electronic dance music to me has been around for years, and it's just now breaking into the American markets, which, it being the number one genre in the music industry that people don't know, it's a great platform for, you know, not just causes that are just for music and festivals, but also raising awareness. And that's kind of what I'm trying to do, is be a voice for a new hybrid sound that I call luxury dance music.
And you've done charity events for like St. Jude and some other
Yes.
organizations.
Yes, we did a project for St. Jude's that Jonathan came from Project Runway. My management team from Nashville Underground Management coordinated. It was a project in Jackson, Tennessee. We did for an audience of 2,000 plus people for a cause for St. Jude's, who is a nonprofit organization for kids with like medical problems or families who can't afford to pay the medical bills. St. Jude steps in and offers that springboard of support for kids who need that help. So
That's great.
it's pretty fun.
One of the things I think is really, really interesting about you is that not only are you a performer, but you also produce shows yourself.
Yes. Like when I was in Austin, Texas, I basically created a company called Brand Your Band that I wanted to be a springboard for not just indie artists, but also indie brands and corporate brands as well. And just my experience from being in the music industry, working South by Southwest, different festivals, and being behind the scenes, and just having that wealth of knowledge as an artist, I just felt like it was a obligation that I was called to create a company that would be a springboard for indie artists. And it wouldn't matter whether they were indie or national artists. I've worked with Grammy award-winning artists to no-name artists, and used my company as a leverage to expose artists and give them as much exposure as possible.
So let's go back to talking about, you grew up you're from Austin originally?
You know, born in San Antonio,
Okay.
raised in Austin, Texas.
Okay. Can you tell us a little bit about who little tiny D Powers was?
I was always the geek that was really quiet. I spent a lot of my time in the choir room or in the basketball court. I was in church a lot. You know, my auntie who adopted me, she definitely kept me prayed up in the church home. And you know, I went through my terrible teen years where, you know, I was curious about the music industry and jumped out, and she gave me her full blessing. And I'm just the go-getter. I was always, you know, trying to figure out how to make money, and coming from San Antonio, Texas, it's in my DNA to, you know, to try to find ways that I can help the people around me. And the beautiful thing about having a good team of people around me and my music career is that the street smarts applies in the corporate America as well. You know, the loyalty, the kinship, you know, the commitment to trust someone with my career, you know, is a big deal for me. Being at the age that I'm at, you know, to take a back seat and try to be a leader in so many different capacities in music, and not just be an artist, but also be a voice and a brand for people.
You seem to have really strong sort of family values. Can you tell me sort of where that came from?
Yeah, like we live in 2015, and you know, for a lot of people who ask me, you know, does my music cater to just straight people or gay people? I like to tell them that I cater to all walks of life, for the reason that my stepmother, who's a big influence on my music and the audience I reach, she's a lesbian. My brother's gay, and I love them, you know, unconditionally. And I think like any cause that's going to be a springboard for me to show my support for my mother, my brothers, and the actual gay, lesbian, and straight community, I don't mind being a voice for that. Because I think, you know, we live in such an innovative generation to where some of us weren't around during Old Testament.
Mm-hmm.
So I like to say that it's a good time for love, and I don't think it's a sin to love someone, man or woman. So that's how I look at it. You know, like society is welcoming the platform of man loving man, woman loving woman, or man to woman. So I embrace it too, and just try to, you know, spread more positive impact on it versus the negative that a lot of people that are traditionally old and aren't up to speed with, you know, how communities embrace each other. So
What was it like for you growing up with two moms? Would you say that it made things more difficult socially, or was it something that everyone was kind of used to?
I will say this, like, you know, my stepmom being a lesbian was definitely the better of both worlds for me. And I do have to say, as a man, I do think there are certain levels of being a young man that only a grown man can teach a young man, just like a mother would teach a daughter. There's certain things that woman to woman, man to man connection as a family that you don't get in the absence of co-parenting any child. And I think if a child is brought up predominantly around women, that influence is going to impact their judge of character, the way they live their life, and it may be a safety zone where they feel comfortable in that bubble. And it's not for society to dictate how a man or a woman should love each other. It's part of their upbringing. And my mom is 100% lesbian, and she's like the mom and the dad. Like, she put that act right on me just as bad as my daddy did when I got it online. So, you know, I salute her for putting her foot down and, you know, always telling me, be who you are, love who you are, love other people for who they are, and accept them. You know, so I totally embrace it, and I'm just humbled enough that, you know, I could speak on the topic openly and not feel uncomfortable about it, because I think it's something that society is quickly grasping and supporting, and I hope other people watching me, you know, be a voice, and not just with my music, but as an individual, and just resonate to everyone out there that feel the same way that I do about it.
Do you feel any pressure being the product of lesbian parenting to sort of stand up for equality, or to be an example in some sort of way?
What you mean pressure? I feel like it's a blessing. I think that, excuse my French, I think it's sexy to be in a situation where, you know, you can have people from all walks of life, you know, like what you're doing, and have that kind of attention to say, hey, you know, why don't we all come together? Because I mean, back in the old days, like festivals, like, doesn't matter if you were gay or straight in the 70s, like this stuff has been going on for years. It's just now got a spotlight on it to where people are more curious about it, and I think it's up to people like us to truly like get the word out there and let people know. I mean, we all know, it's as funny as this may sound, when I was a kid, the word gay meant happy.
Mhm.
I still think it means happy. So whether you're straight or gay, so I try to keep those untainted thoughts like with me.
Now, you said that your brother is also gay.
hmm
What is your relationship like with him? Are you the older or?
I'm the oldest of all four of my brothers, and I have a great relationship with him. And like one of the things that I expressed to him with him coming out to me is that I love you all the same. And I told him at first it was a shock to me, him coming out to me before the family. And my mom and I, we just said the same thing. Look, we're gonna rally around my brother and just support him wholeheartedly. And like I don't see him any different. Like we go to the clubs, and the beautiful thing about my relationship with my brother being gay is he gives me insight. He educates me on what the relationship is like. And I'm curious. I don't want to know all his bedroom secrets and all of that, but he educates me enough to where I feel comfortable enough to know that it's no different than a man to woman relationship. Is this the intimacy aspect is a personal preference, and I don't mind it at all as long as my brother is happy and he's loving another man out of love and not lust. I don't see it as a sin at all. It's no different than me loving a woman. So
Would you say that growing up with lesbian parents made you like really sensitive, or?
it absolutely did, because some people don't know how to take that, and when you live in a new generation mixed with the old, some people are spiritually conflicted with how to embrace that, and it's just hard because you want the best for your friends and your family who are gay, and people who don't know how to just speak up and hold the ground and say, it's like bullying and racial discriminating against someone for their sexual preference. I think it's a big issue in our society today, and I think the more we talk, the more people will understand. So
Now, I know you are an EDM artist, but specifically, you are a rapper.
yes, I'm a rapper, singer, producer, and I refer to EDM music as a genre of music that I'm in, because I do multiple different genres of music, but EDM is primarily the genre of music that I categorize my music.
Now, would you say with like rap, R&B, and hip hop that the undertones in the music and in the culture as well tend to be homophobic and somewhat misogynistic?
Depends on what you mean by homophobic, to what capacity. Give me an example and I'll...
Let me see. Like the idea, it's been my experience that generally in that sort of culture, the idea of being an effeminate man or being out is sort of looked down upon as almost a thing of ridicule. Is there a new generation coming up that doesn't see it that way?
Well, I mean, if you saw my brother, he definitely fits the part of someone that is totally comfortable in his bubble, and like I think it's cool. Like people up from Texas don't understand that people in hot Atlanta, the gay community, you see dudes in skinny jeans and 6-inch heels and 30, 40-inch Birkin bags. You don't see that in Texas. So again, it's a culture thing to where it's what people gravitate to, and I like skinny jeans. I'm rocking feminine colors. That doesn't mean
Yeah, I like your tank top, by the way.
Thank you,
I really like
appreciate
that.
it. And I did wear these colors to support the pride movement, so just to show my support. But I don't think it's really that big of an issue today. Like if you watch Project Runway or you watch RuPaul, these are icons who are definitely setting the tone for society and saying, look, be who you are, love who you are, and embrace it and share it with everybody else. And if they don't understand, ask them. Some people are afraid to approach other people who may look at them crazy. And if I see a person looking at me crazy, I'm just bold enough to say, can I take my glasses off for you, or talk to you, or is there a problem? So I don't think there's really a problem in society with the homophobic male contrast of some men looking very dominant, some men looking very feminine. I like to refer to myself as a metrosexual male, because there's some things that I want to feel sexy, and there's some days I just want to look hot or just kind of, Texas swagger. So I don't think it's really a situation these days. I just think if we just keep things sexy, everybody will be happy.
I think it's a good idea too that like you're being very transparent and open about your family and sort of what would you say to anyone who's maybe struggling with, keeping a gay relative a secret or kind of being ashamed about it?
I got 2 words: come out.
Mm-hmm.
That's all I can say. Come out and be who you are. Like, and this not just for the gay community, but straight community also. Communication is key, and it's the number one love language, communication. So if you don't feel comfortable, reach out to a friend or somebody that you really trust and ask them, how to deal with these things. And most importantly, I feel like if you're going to come out and express to someone who may not understand your preference of love and how you want to live your life, use a certain amount of tact and, express that you're compassionate to love them before you express to them you coming out. Set that tone and let them know that you really care about them. And, so that way there's no ill will for you saying, look, I want you to love me and accept me for me whole, not half of who I want to be. So that's the best advice that I would say. It's worked in my family, and every holiday that me and my family get together, it's a beautiful learning experience. So like I said, we live in a new generation to where it's 2015. Homosexuality is openly accepted in I don't know how many states now.
Mm-hmm.
So if I could just raise awareness and just be a voice for the community, I hope I represent my family and my friends well, that are gay and lesbians, and I proudly support it. And for the record, I'm not gay, but I proudly support the community.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely wonderful. Now, are you going to be at the Pride Festival at the end of June?
Yeah, I'm actually gonna be out and about. Well, I'm sure I'll be out there with my friends. We actually went last year and got to see Betty Who, Nikki Williams, Kylie Rothfield, and a lot of amazing other bands. Robert Randolph, I think it was. And it was a great time. So I look forward to coming out to Pride this year and seeing a lot of shows. I definitely can't wait to go check out the show and play. So
It's gonna be fun. Pride's definitely a fun
Yeah.
thing, even though this is now gonna be in July. So can you tell our viewers, readers, where they can find your music and where they can find you
Sure.
online?
you can find us at www.viralanimal.com. And also, you can follow us at Viral Animal on Twitter or Instagram, and leave a comment. I try to respond to everybody that reaches out to me. So I want to thank Out and About for having me on this amazing interview.
And Reverb Nation.
And Reverb Nation. And I just want to thank Nashville. I think it's a sexy time for Nashville. And a lot of innovative things are happening in the gay and lesbian community, and I'm just proud to be a part of this opportunity to be a voice. And so I thank y'all. Be happy.